Welcome to the Trinisphere, Timmy, Johnny, and Spike Battle, where all things EH, here with your host, two heads are better than one, Juan the Timmy. And today I'll be bringing you a two-headed giant deck tech for Theros Beyond Death. But first, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any new Trinisphere content. Now on to the deck tech. Alright, today we'll be playing Kroxa Titan of Death's Hunger, a black-red 6/6. Oh boy, that's some aggressive stats. But not really. When Kroxa enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escape, or escaped for the layman. Whenever Kroxa enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card. Then each opponent who didn't discard an online card this way loses 3 life. Then Kroxa has Escape. You can cast him for his escape cost by exiling 5 other cards from your graveyard and paying black, red. So the plan for this deck is Groupslug. We're going to make our opponents discard some cards, we're going to occasionally discard some cards, and we're just going to make sure to deal as much damage to them with either Kroxa's abilities, a little bit of Reanimator, and some efficient threats. But first, as always, to get it all started, ramp. Dark Ritual. It'll allow us to speed up into our 3 drops in mono black, and fill the graveyard for our commander. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Mind Stone, Rakdos Signet, Talisman of Indulgence, Seething Song, same as Dark Ritual, but hopefully into our 5 and 6 drops. And Victory Chimes, which untaps during each player's untap step, and a player of your choice adds Colorless to their mana pool, so we can help our ally ramp while we ourselves are taking a turn to ramp for our next turn. But what we really want to do in our beginning turns is make our opponents discard, with cards like Vicious Rumors. Vicious Rumors deals 1 damage to each opponent discards a card, put the top card of their library into the graveyard, and you gain 1 life. A lot of value for just 1 black pip. Burglar Rat, each opponent discards. Miasmic Mummy, each player discards a card. Rotting Rats, each player discards a card, and you can unearth it for 1 and a black, which will bring it back to the battlefield with haste. Arterial Flow, each opponent discards 2 cards, and each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life if you control a vampire, which will probably be irrelevant. Dark Deal, each player discards all the cards in his or her hand, then draws that many cards -1. Delirium Schemes, each player discards 3 cards. Unnerve, each opponent discards 2 cards. Engraft the Flame Chain, a 5 mana planeswalker, 3 black-red. +1, each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. -3, gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap it. It gains haste until end of turn. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step if you converted mana cost is 3 or less. And -8, each opponent loses life equal to the number of cards in his or her graveyard, and it comes in with 4 loyalty. Tasiger's Cruelty, each opponent discards 2 cards, it has Delve. And Herald of Anguish, a 7 mana 5/5 with Improvise. Your artifacts can help cast this spell. Each artifact you tap after you've done activating mana abilities pays for 1. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent discards a card. And sacrifice an artifact. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. It probably won't be that relevant. We can sack our rocks later in the game, but it's whatever. We just want it in there for the discard. We're also going to be drawing and filtering our hands with cards like Faithless Looting, Cathartic Reunion, Thrill of Possibility, Tormenting Voice, Wild Guess, Angie's Ravager, a 3 mana 3/3 that attacks each combat available, and whenever Angie's Ravager attacks, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. Madness for 1 and a red. This will allow us to pitch cards we don't want into our graveyard, or we could just dump our entire hand and just essentially have draw 3 at each of our combat steps. Glinthorn Buccaneer, a 3 mana 2/4 with haste. Whenever you discard a card, Glinthorn Buccaneer deals 1 damage to each opponent, so we have some payoffs for discarding all these cards from our hands. 1 in a red, discard a card, draw a card. Activate this ability only if Glinthorn Buccaneer is attacking. Avaricious Dragon, a card I wish I could play more of. It's a 4 mana 4/4 with flying. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card, and at the beginning of your end step, discard your hand. Waste follows want. So hopefully we could just pitch all the cards from our hand, get them into the graveyard anyways. On our next turn, draw them. We have no instant speed interaction essentially, we're just preying on getting rid of it all. And if anything, it's just going to help fuel cast our commander from the graveyard, right? And last but not least, Neheb Dreadhorde Champion. 4 mana 5/4 trample. Whenever Neheb Dreadhorde Champion deals combat damage to your player or planeswalker, you may discard any number of cards from your hand. And if you do, draw that many and add that much red to your mana pool, and you don't lose that mana as the steps and phases end. And since we're discarding all these cards, we may as well have a light reanimation package, right? With cards like Entomb, search your library for a card and put that card into your graveyard. Buried Alive, search your library for 3 creature cards, put them into your graveyard. Reanimate, return a creature from a graveyard to the battlefield, you lose life equal to its CMC. Unearth, return target creature card with CMC cost 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Animate Dead and Necromancy. And the piece de resistance of reanimation spells, Living Death. Any creatures that were on the battlefield go onto the graveyard, and any creatures that were in graveyard go onto the battlefield. They literally just switch spots. And then we're going to be playing 2 Dredgers, Golgari Thug, and Stinkweed Imp. Then we'll have our utility spells such as Gamble, Demonic Tutor, and Dark Petition, which all search your library in some way, shape, or form, except Gamble makes you discard a card at random. And Dark Petition is a 5 mana spell that if you have Spell Mastery, you get to float 3 black mana afterwards. And then we have our removal spells like Liliana's Triumph, Mire Misery, and Farika's Libation, which makes our opponents either sacrifice creatures or sacrifice enchantments. And then we have Rakdos Charm, Chaos Warp, Rampaging Ferocidon, Fiery Confluence, which could be a 12-ball to our enemy team, and then Fires of Inventions. You can cast spells only during your turn, and you can cast no more than 2 spells each turn. You may cast spells with CMC costs less than or equal to the number of lands you control without paying their mana cost. And considering our CMC isn't too high in this deck, hopefully we get to cast quite a few spells for free. And then on to our win cons and beaters. We have Combat Celebrant, which allows me to go to combat extra time, Hazard the Fervent, which when I have no cards in hands or only one, it can attack. 2 in a red, discard a card, Hazard deals 2 damage to each opponent. Relentless Assault. Untap all creatures that attack this turn. After this main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by additional main phase. Which means, if our teammate attacked during this turn, they'll be able to attack again. We're going to have a few more spells like this, like World at War and Fury of the Horde. Territorial Hellkite is a 4-mana 6/6 with haste that randomly attacks an opponent, but if both the opponents are on the same team and there's only 2 of them, it can attack each turn, dealing 6 damage each turn, to essentially the same player. War Chief Giant, a 5-mana 5/3 with haste, and Myriad. Whenever this creature attacks for each opponent other than the defending player, you may put a token that's a copy of this creature onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So if there's no creatures on board the chump block, it'll hopefully be a 10-ball when the second it comes into play. Sword of Discord, a 6-mana 6/6 flying. As Sword of Discord enters the battlefield, choose 2 players. Whenever damage is dealt to one of the chosen players, the other chosen player also loses that much life. So it's essentially going to be doing double damage as long as we're doing damage to our opponents and Swords in play. The Haunt of Hightower, 6-mana 3/3, flying lifelink. Whenever the Haunt of Hightower attacks, the defending player discards a card. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on the Haunt of Hightower. And just a flavor add, Tyrant of Valakut, a 7-mana 5/4. A little expensive, but it has Surge for 3 in red if you cast an extra spell this turn, or your teammate casts an extra spell this turn. Flying, when Tyrant of Valakut enters the battlefield, if the Surge cost is paid, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Just a little bit of value, and a cute card for what we're doing. And then we have Exsanguinate. Each opponent loses X life, you gain life equal to the life lost this way. Torment of Hailfire. Repeat this following process X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. And each of these spells are X black. Then we have Chandra's Ignition. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent. And last but not least, Awaken the Erstwhile. Each player discards all the cards in their hand and creates that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. And then for our lands, we'll be playing Blood Crypt, Command Tower, Darkmoor Salvage, Dragonskull Summit, Foreboding Ruins, Graven Cairns, Smoldering Marsh, Sulphurous Springs, and then a split of 16 swamps and 12 mountains. Alright guys, and that's the end of the deck tech. Please let me know what you think about in the description box down below. Said that backwards, meant in the comments section. I will say this though, this isn't a normal build for Kroxa, this is a little bit more lean towards Two-Headed Giant. If you do feel like picking up this list or any of the cards that feel like good synergies with Kroxa, you know where to go, tcgplayer.com, using our affiliate link. It helps me build my budget decks. Shannon in the editing closet, we keep them locked in with some Red Bulls, and it helps Hogg with his rock addiction. And remember guys, it's all about sending a message, like going to combat 3 times with Kroxa out.